Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This is Geechee Lion from Geechee Lion's Journey. And as promised, I'm starting a new vlog series solely dedicated to my music legacy. I began recording music and composing music about 50 years ago, starting out with poetry, and then I started to actually set that poetry to music or add it to music that someone else had already written and composed and performed. And what we're going to do now, as I said before, I want to start out with the songs that I've written. I've written probably over 100 songs, and I've recorded in one form or another over half of those. And I want to start off with songs that I wrote with actual professional performers, musicians in mind. You could say that I wrote these songs for them. That was in my mind at the time that I was writing a song for them. The first one I've chosen, I consider this to be probably one of my best. For years, I consider this song, I Can't Go Back, to be one of my best songs that I've ever written. It was inspired by real events. I wrote it at the time I had a girlfriend. As a matter of fact, that was my first girlfriend, my only girlfriend that I had. I was in my early 20s, and we had a tumultuous, rocky relationship for a few years, and I actually intended to marry this woman, but that was not to be. But the lyrics was inspired by those events with my girlfriend, but musically I was hearing Boy George of Culture Club at that time. They were very popular. They were in their heyday. And at that time, Boy George had one of the most pleasing voices in popular music. Very soft, very easy to listen to, high pitch. I guess you call it a high tenor or falsetto. Over the course of, I want to say, years, that this song evolved. I was hearing Boy George singing this, and that helped shape the creation of this song. So I'm starting off with this song, I Can't Go Back. And it was basically talking about I can't go back to the relationship with my girlfriend. But I Can't Go Back, again, I thought for years I considered it to be one of my best songs. And what I want to do in this series is feature the songs inspired by the people who are still physically alive with us. Boy George is still alive. So I'm hoping that maybe he'll get a chance to hear this. And who knows, maybe he might want to actually record it. So I want to start off Geechee Lion Music Legacy series with I Can't Go Back. And what I want to do now is kind of give you a little snippet of the way this song sounds vocally. I'm going to record and let you hear a recorded, isolated vocal that I did for this song, and you tell me what you think. This is I Can't Go Back.
Once you made me feel like a king on his throne. With you as my queen, I'd seen what happiness meant. We had such a deal, so real, too good to be blown. I thought it was heaven sent, but oh no, something changed. We couldn't see eye to eye. We couldn't save it, but we gave it a try. I tried to tell you, but you just wouldn't listen. Here we stand in this heartbreak condition.
At that time, during those years, fortunately for me, that I was in a band with my cousin, of course, my cousin Melvin Fields, and the guitar player who was Greg Phoenix. And we started out calling ourselves the Soul Inflamers, and then eventually got changed to the Mouth Persuasions. But we started playing music and making music in our late teens. I think I started again about when I was like 16 years old. And maybe a year we were together. I think the band might have been together formally in one form or another. Over the next 8-9 years, we did a few live shows, and actually did a couple studio sessions. But this I Can't Go Back had kind of hung around there for a while, and I finally got to the place where I was able to go in the studio with it. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Greg Phoenix to go back in the studio with me at that time. He wasn't available. I think he's a cornerstone of the sound, which I have preserved in the guitar, but I was able to go back to Soto Sound Studio and lay down some tracks. I just met a distant cousin, a female vocalist, and she actually provided some background vocals for me on this song. But at that time, it was basically just me on the keyboard, drum machine. I did get Lionel Dunn, who was a saxophone player on my first album, Alone at Last. He had a short guitar solo. I wish I could have gotten more from him on that, but again, we were dealing with limited resources, so yes, I was fortunate to be able to make some kind of recording, and that's what you'll be listening to right here. Let's listen to about a minute or so of that studio session. I believe this happened, it had to be around 1985.
And we made up our
Fast forward almost 40 years later, the band had long since broken up. I haven't been in contact with my cousin Melvin for years. Got out of touch with Greg Phoenix. So basically this was during the period, I would say, starting in about 1989 or so, that I took about a 30-year hiatus from music. I had no or very little inspiration or motivation to do any music. So I stopped writing, I stopped playing, I stopped singing for almost 30 years. But fast forward to around 2020. And my inspiration, I found inspiration again, and I talked about this on a previous vlog. I want to basically give all the credit to my relationship with Filipinas and a couple of Filipinas that I met that came into my life, that they inspired me. But this particular song, finally was able to re-record it again. This actually was included on my second album that I produced under the name Imperial Brown and the Million Seller. This is from the album called Hung Up on My Baby, which that song has its own story, which I'll get into. But I was able to meet my cousin Gerard Rayburn, who's a professional blues musician and singer, composer, writer, performer, and he referred me to a professional recording studio down there in Memphis. And I met this man named James Jackson. And I was able to strike up a good rapport with him, and we ended up doing 12 songs together. We did 12 songs together. I'm hoping I can get him to do another 6 songs this year. If this is, I don't mind spending some money. Hopefully he has the time. Hopefully his health is up. But I was finally able to get this song. I still had the original master 4-track tapes that I did in the basement with me on the keyboards and vocals, drum machine, and Greg Phoenix on guitar, which was a key to that sound. And in the final version that I was able to do and actually release on my second album, which was again Hung Up on My Baby, is the name of the album by Imperial Brown and the Million Seller. Hopefully you all will pick that up after you heard some of this music. But I was finally able to record it, and I'm going to present this to you now. And I'd like to, if you haven't already done so, like and subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Fanbase, the Fanbase social media app, which is really the only social media app that I'm going to be on. I'm not going to really be on Facebook and Instagram much at all. I'm going to be on Fanbase, and I have 2 accounts there. I have Geechee Line Music, and then I have Geechee Line Journey, which is corresponding to this particular channel. So without further ado, thank you for listening. This has been a presentation. The first song presentation, I Can't Go Back, which is inspired by actual events. Musically speaking, though, my main inspiration for this particular music was Boy George of Culture Club. And anybody out there, if you know him, you may, hopefully he'll get a chance to listen to this, and he'll contact me and actually want to record it himself. But thank you. I'd like to invite you to join me next week, where I will be presenting the second song that I actually wrote for one of my favorite groups and the lead singer of that famous favorite group. And you want to know who that is? I'll give you a hint. The name of the group is the same name as the city I was born in. So thank you. This is the presentation of Geechee Line Music. This is the studio version of I Can't Go Back by Imperial Brown and the Million Seller, produced by James Jackson.
you made me feel like a king on his throne. With you as my queen, I seen what happiness meant. We had such a deal, so real, too good to be blown.